Toastmasters, and guests. Picture this. Things are going really well for you. You just lost some weight. Just got a nice big raise at work. And you come home. And there it is. You open up the mailbox. And there's this letter from the IRS. With a certain amount of trepidation, you open the letter and you see, "Dear taxpayer, your federal return for the period shown below was selected for examination. What you need to do now, one, please call me before such and such date. During our telephone conversation, we'll talk about the items you need and what else you need to do, and blah, 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 blah." Or maybe I should say, ay, 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 ay. So what do you do when that happens? In my talk today, I'm going to give you an overview of why the IRS picks people to be audited. The different types of audits, people don't necessarily know that there's more than one kind of audit. The objectives of both you and the IRS agent. If you don't like the results, what are your options? And finally, I will try to regale you with some of my experiences dealing with IRS personnel, so you get a real flavor of just what it's like dealing with the IRS. Did you know some people don't pay their taxes? Are you familiar with what's known as the tax gap? Basically, the IRS provides to Congress each year the tax gap, and what the tax gap is they figure out what they should have collected versus what they didn't collect, and the difference is called the gap. For 2016, the gap is perceived to be $458 billion that people are paying to the IRS. Now, this chart here shows you what comprises the gap. And most of it is people aren't reporting their income. The IRS has a matching program so that if you get like a W-2 or a 1099, the IRS also gets a copy. And if you don't receive a W-2 or a 1099, it's really tempting to sort of forget to put that on your return. So, I mean, after all, how is the IRS going to know it? So the reason for audits, one is to cut down on the tax gap and to encourage people to file their returns. The second reason, and this is really kind of a horrific one, is that they need to have statistical data for their audit programs and how they select people to be audited. And so they will randomly choose people to audit. And these are probably one of the more invasive kind of audits because they do it line by line. And so while you may be perfectly innocent, you could potentially get caught up in this kind of a random audit. It's not very likely, but it does happen. And if you have that happen to you, have my sincere condolences. And finally, you know some people may not like you. People have been known to snitch to the IRS about they suspect you're cheating on your taxes, perhaps an ex-spouse, a disgruntled business associate, maybe an unhappy employee. The IRS sort of euphemistically call these referrals. I always love referrals. So assuming that you're not caught up in a stat audit, or you haven't been ratted out, the main reason is that there are certain things they look for. And Intuit, who makes our favorite TurboTax, has these as indicators as to why you may get audited. One, you get a higher than average income. I mean, that stands to reason. If there's more income, there's more taxes you might be able to collect. And people with higher income also tend to be pretty aggressive in terms of trying to save on taxes. Your deductions are out of proportion to your income. For example, if you have a lot of charitable deductions, it's a lot, so a great percentage of your income in national statistics you could be selected. Also, if you use round numbers, if you use round numbers, you might as well tell the IRS that you're just making these numbers up. Now, from a business standpoint, if you have a home office, people like to exaggerate the amount of space on a home office. If you have business losses year after year, especially if you've got other higher income that you're offsetting that against business losses, if you have a lot of excessive deductions for business entertainment, or if you are claiming 100% vehicle use on your tax return, and also if you just file a Schedule C, because that's who they're going after, is the small business people, because that income doesn't necessarily get reported to the IRS.